Right now, the average gallon of gas across the nation costs $4.95. To help with that oh so high number, President Joe Biden has a plan that our country has never done before. Something he says could immediately reduce the price of gas by 18 cents per gallon. Not a whole lot of relief, but some. Biden wants a federal gas tax holiday, waiving the 18.5-cent tax on every gallon for 3 months.
Now, I fully understand that a gas tax holiday alone is not going to fix the problem, but it will provide families some immediate relief, just a little bit of breathing room as we continue working to bring down prices for the long haul.
So if Biden's plan passes and works as he hopes, here's how much gas Buddy says it might end up saving you. Folks who drive a standard size car could save $2.94 a week, minivan drivers $3.68 per week, and people who drive a big truck $5.52 a week. Across America, it could save drivers $70 million every day. Folks in the Triad say they need all the help they can get.
I mean, I'll probably end up selling my car and just sticking with public transportation or doing something like an electric bike or something like that. Much cheaper at this point.
But before the lower gas prices get to you, the tax holiday has to make it through Congress. And well, the chances are pretty bleak, according to a congressional reporter named Sean Sullivan.
It'll face challenges. This Congress has been gridlocked on a great many things. Democrats have the narrowest of majorities in the Senate. They have a narrow majority in the House. And given the resistance, even in the president's own party to this, it's a real open question about whether this can actually succeed.
We reached out to all the people who represent you in D.C. to see where they stand. We're still waiting to hear back. Some of the president's own party have already come out and called this gas tax holiday short-sighted and inefficient. Their main concern is something that's also being argued by a professor from Yale who tweeted, "A gas tax holiday is a horrible idea. Please consider what happened when Germany introduced the same policy. Big oil only passes through a fraction to customers and pockets most of the tax reduction." The concern is that while a gas tax holiday would lower the price for you by 18.5 cents, oil companies could turn around and raise their prices by that much, pocketing the difference. Even President Biden has accused companies of wanting to keep prices high.
Exxon made more money than God this year. And by the way, nothing's changed. And they're not, by the way, one thing I want to say about the oil companies. You talk about how they have 9,000 permits to drill. They're not drilling. Why aren't they drilling? Because they make more money not producing more oil.
At the same time, states like California are investigating oil companies making huge profits right now.
We need to ask tough questions about them and their business practices.
And the U.S. Secretary of Energy is asking oil companies to do their part.
And they're making profits that are at record levels. So we are calling upon them to be part of this, be American, be focused on increasing production to relieve the pain.
High driver demand is part of why gas got so expensive in the first place. People keep hitting the roads to take trips they missed during the pandemic, or hey, some just have to get around for work and life. People consume a lot of gas, and if a gas tax passes, an expert from Gas Buddy worries demand could grow even more.
It could exacerbate the situation by causing maybe more Americans to hit the road if prices do go down 20 cents a gallon. And that could, again, cause more of an imbalance between supply and demand that could eventually push prices up.
He says the gas tax holiday wouldn't bring the sustained relief that we all need. Another issue people have with the gas tax holiday, they worry what it would mean for our country's road projects. The gas tax puts money into the Highway Trust Fund. Well, since 2008, we found out the U.S. Treasury has had to make contributions to the fund because the gas tax stopped generating enough money. President Biden says the infrastructure law passed last fall will cover any road projects if a gas tax holiday passes through Congress. President Biden also asked states to make their own gas tax holidays too. In North Carolina, that would require the General Assembly and the governor to sign off. Today, Governor Cooper's press secretary said the gas tax pays for critical infrastructure funding, and legislative leaders have said they're not open to a change at this time. With any tax cut, we would need to make sure the savings are actually passed on to consumers at the pump and not just added to the bottom line of the oil and gas companies. And a spokesperson for Senator Berger came out against the idea, writing in part, "The state's gas tax funds nearly half of the North Carolina Department of Transportation budget. A gas tax holiday would have dire consequences on the state's ability to maintain roads and fund future projects. So getting a gas tax holiday in North Carolina would be a bumpy road, to say the least." Other states like Maryland and Georgia have suspended their gas tax earlier this year. Drivers in both places saw cheaper prices. AAA says Georgia gas holidays dropped prices 32%. Maryland saw their average price go down 41 cents. Both holidays have since expired, but each state is considering bringing it back. While we wait to find out what lawmakers are going to do about a gas tax holiday, folks all over TikTok say, let's take matters into our own hands by boycotting gas. But will it work? Let's verify.
Make sure you don't fill up your gas tanks between July 3rd and July 5th.
We're going to work together and drive the price down.
These claims fueling a lot of discussion on social media.
Boycotts have been proven to work and reduce gas prices in the past.
But is it true? Can a 3-day-long boycott drop or reset gas prices? Our sources, Tiffany Wright with AAA Carolinas and Joseph Von Nessen, an economics expert at the University of South Carolina. People on TikTok say the same boycott happened in 2008 during that recession. If it did, Wright said, there's no history of gas price change.
And if history shows anything, we haven't seen anything at AAA that's proven that something like this can really move the needle as far as gas prices are concerned.
So prices do go down in response to a decline in consumption, but only if that decline in consumption is over a significant period of time.
Wright makes the comparison to food.
What if you decide to fast right before Thanksgiving, right? But then you eat like a complete, you can eat like a complete turkey on Thanksgiving Day. You're adding extra calories, you're having extra desserts, all of that. All of these things are factors. And it's like, okay, well, you might have fasted for those, couple of days here, but then if you're going to eat the entire fridge on Thursday and Friday and the rest of the weekend and all the leftovers, then how are you moving the needle there as well?
So we can verify, no, a 3-day-long boycott will not drop or reset gas prices. It needs to be much longer. Longer and substantial. Those are the two key words to take away. A gas tax holiday might bring some small relief in the short term, but every single lawmaker and expert says we also need to start focusing on addressing the root causes of all these high prices. As we do, we'll be here to dig into it.